Good evening. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Sorry, but these two have been having me in hysterics backstage doing weird dances and it's just weirdness. But before we get started to talk about tonight's show, I just want to talk about our sponsors. We are proudly sponsored by Global Mapping Surveys. Global Mapping Surveys currently assist architects, property developers, and construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, and monitoring. The link is in the description for the website and contact details. Thank you so much to Global Mapping Surveys. And I'll let Colm do this one because he knows more about it than I.
Yes, we are officially partnered with Rafe Esport Energy Drink. Rafe is a powdered energy formula which is mixed with water, so it is a water-based energy drink. It's healthier and it's a lot better than the generic energy drink cans. It's clean, zero sugar, antioxidant-rich formula is designed to give you the edge in anything you do, whether that's gaming or sport. And FTSN also has a 10% discount code for you guys, which is FTSN22 on any orders. Just scan that QR code and it'll take you straight to the website.
And Colm can also do this one too.
Yes, we have this one as well. This will be drawn some point either just before or just after Christmas. You will have a chance to win your team's shirt, and it is as simple as getting involved in the chat live or after the show has finished. We will pick a random comment and that person shall be the winner, and we will get your team's shirt or a shirt of your choosing really sent out to you.
Brilliant stuff. How are you both anyway?
But for the $1 million question though, Bobby, can you explain what a topographical survey is to the viewers?
Isn't that the one that tells if things go up and down more on a surface? I don't know because Adam's the one that does it, so I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that's the one that actually says if like there's bumps in something and whatever. I don't know. I'm only guessing, but I'm guessing because it's a 3D. I'm guessing it's something to do with all the bumps and whatever. Just want to say evening to Luke. I don't know why I'm reading literally that. I'm a single dad to 3 young boys, so I might get myself that discount on Rafe. Big up to Luke. Hope you're doing well, my lad.
Yeah, Luke, if you do and you like watermelon, I really do suggest the watermelon twist. Flavored. It's really nice and it's very refreshing as well.
Oh, there you go, Luke.
And as an added bonus, after your first order, they actually send you out a coupon for 15% off a tub. So that's a bonus that you'll get after your first order.
There you go. So how are you, Rebel?
Not too bad. We were busy discussing the pros and cons of Ronaldo last night, as you may have seen on the channel. Anyone that hasn't seen that show, look back on yesterday's and let us know your comments, and we'd be glad to engage with you on whether you're pro Ronaldo or anti-Ronaldo in this situation. But in terms of the World Cup, as everybody knows, I'm from the wee island of Ireland, so we're not involved in this little fantastic event. But I get to be the impartial Irishman camping in on English shoulders while I give my 2 cents on your performance.
Well, there's a certain comedy show that I love watching, and it's about the week. And there's Dara O'Brien is the host, and they did this sketch of what won't you hear at the World Cup, and it was always, and here comes the Irish team, and I just loved it. I don't know if you've ever seen it on YouTube or something, but it's definitely worth watching because it is quite funny that Ireland haven't been in it for quite a while. But I personally hope that they do come back because I want all our 4 to 5 nations back in it. To be honest, I'd love to see it. I love the fact that Wales are in it. But obviously, this is about England. This is about the World Cup that starts on Sunday. Obviously, England's game is first on Monday against Iran. And I asked a few people just to do a 26-man squad because obviously we've done the show about the selected 26, which got heated, especially between Colm and a certain other United fan, which I wasn't expecting to be there because I thought United fans would get on quite well. They didn't. They had a little bit of a fallout about a certain Rashford, but it is what it is. But these are the 3 teams because obviously I've done one. I've asked Luke, who's actually in the chat, to do one, and I've asked Colm to do one. So this is Luke's 26-man squad. So he's gone for Pickford, Ramsdale, Dean Henderson, Mitchell, Rico Henry, Stones, White, Gay, Tamori. Midfielders of Eze, Bellingham, Rice, Henderson, Maddison, Ward-Prowse, and he's got 10 forwards of Sterling, Harrison, Kane, Abraham, Grealish, Foden, Wilson, Tony, Bowen, and Saka. Now, as the neutral, because that's kind of what you are, Rebel, how would you rate that as a 20-man or 26-man squad?
There's quite a lot of it that I would say absolutely. There isn't a month of Sundays that I'd put Henderson in over Pope. I'll be honest with you, in that three in the goalkeeping ranks. Trent Alexander-Arnold, despite all his trouble at Liverpool this season, definitely would need to be giving you an alternative in terms of the right wing back spot. Midfield is bang on, actually, in my opinion. Had absolutely no qualms with that. And the one that sticks out to me in the forward line is Jackie Grealish. I don't think I've seen enough of him to warrant getting into the England squad. If you're going to say that Maguire shouldn't be picked, by the same token, I think Grealish would fall foul of the same set of standards.
Yeah. What about you, Colm? What do you think of that squad yourself?
Well, you can definitely tell that it's not an official squad with how many forwards and how many defenders are in there. See, I wouldn't, if this was the squad, barring one or two maybe, I wouldn't actually be too opposed about it at all. You know, there's some really good players in there. I agree with Rebel. Not sure about the Dean Henderson inclusion there. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I picked Grealish in mine. But yeah, I probably wouldn't have picked him either. I can't remember whether I did or not. I did it last week, so
don't worry, I've got yours already. I just want to quickly get into this comment of Box. Big up to Box. Is that a Crystal Palace squad? It definitely isn't. It's a chosen 26-man squad by that person. They had no restrictions. They could choose whoever they wanted, so that's what they did. But big up to you, Box. And I asked him also to do the starting 11 from that specific squad, so that is his starting 11 from the 26-man squad that he chose. So he went for Ramsdale in goal, Trippier, White, Tamori, Mitchell, Rice, Bellingham, Maddison, Saka, Kane, Foden. What do you think of that starting 11 from the 26-man squad that he chose?
The one thing actually that jumps out at me, again in midfield, and it was something that I was listening to during the week, is a differential type of player in the centre of midfield. And people are saying that there wouldn't be enough of a kind of a box-to-box type effort in having Bellingham and Rice together. So that is probably one area that you might look to change things up. Mitchell, in terms of the squad that he's picked, probably is your standout, but I think overall you more than likely would have had Shaw, actually thinking back on it, in there to kind of go in tandem. And the front three speaks for itself. The only person that I could see possibly looking, based on the form of the recent weeks, to challenge him would be Rashford. But Saka, Foden, and Kane probably are the standout three in that area for me at the moment.
What about you, Colm?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, those front three, you know, I think they kind of pick themselves. The Bellingham, Maddison, Rice thing could be a slight issue. I don't see it being too much of a problem, you know. Maddison's work rate is really, really good. He'll drop back if he needs to. You know, Ramsdale's got to be worth a shout as well. You know, he's Arsenal's goalkeeper, Arsenal top of the league. You always should put your best goalkeeper in that position. Well, come on, let's face it. He is the best English goalkeeper in the Premier League at the minute. Yeah. You know, that's why he's at the top of the table. You know, he's stopping goals from going in. That's his job. Mitchell's a bit of a shout. I've got to lie. Not been massively impressed with Mitchell. But yeah, Tamori and White as well. I mean, you know, it's a decent starting lineup. I don't think it'd win the World Cup, but it's a decent starting lineup.
Okay, well, we're going to go to, I think it's yours next, mate. Yes, it is.
Can I just take exception to one comment that Colin made about the best English keeper in the league? Arguably, Pope probably has done more for Newcastle to get to them to where they are than Ramsdale has individually to get Arsenal where they are. I think Arsenal's position at the top of the league is by the sum of their parts as a team. But I think arguably Pope is probably the better of the two if you were to boil down to individual performance of what they've done for their respective outfield units.
Yeah.
I agree. What I don't mean is like he's the best English goalkeeper overall. I'm just saying, obviously, because he's at the top of the table with Arsenal, he's flying high. He's probably got that little bit more of an edge because, like I said, is at the top of the league.
Yeah, I'd agree with what Box is saying here. Trippier and Shaw as fullbacks, in my opinion, and obviously with James and Chilwell having injuries, obviously we couldn't pick them. We weren't going to pick players that were obviously injured, sadly. But yeah, they would have definitely been in there. So come on, Colm, explain your selections here.
Well, I've gone with Pickford, Ramsdale, and Pope. Obviously, Pickford's a staple in the England squad. Ramsdale and Pope need to be in it. I mean, we've just said, Ramsdale's at the top of the league and Pope's been doing absolute wondrous things for Newcastle. So I can't exclude them. Then I've got defence Walker Peters, Stones, White, Gay, Lamptey, Tomori, Cody, Trippier. Trippier's been fantastic as well this season. I've gone for Walker because obviously they exploit the pace of Walker down that side as well. And then Stones and White would be my pairing, really. I think they're both very, very competent defenders. And the rest of them are more of, outside of shots. I mean, I put Tomori in there because he's had an amazing, amazing season so far. And it's absolutely ridiculous that he's been overlooked yet again. I think Tomori's a quality centre-back. I really do. Midfielders, I've gone Eze, Bellingham, Rice, Henderson, Maddison, Ward-Prowse, and Mount. All those players for me deserve to be there. Rice is that solid CDM that, you need to help out your defence. James Ward-Prowse, we've seen what he can do at a dead ball situation, similar to what, Trippier can do, but he gives us double options. Mason Mount, he's turned out to be a really good player. You can't really leave him out. Maddison, the way he's been performing, you can't leave him out. Henderson's in there for a bit of experience. He's been to a few competitions now. I think we should give Eze a shot. He's a very good, young, promising player as well. So that's the midfield. The forwards, Sterling, Tony, Kane, Abraham, Saka, Foden, Wilson. So as you can see, there is no certain Manchester United player that I got into a bit of a heated discussion about last week because I don't think he's done enough to go to the World Cup, whereas I think those players there have done enough. Obviously, we understand that one of those players on there, it would have been difficult for him to go to the World Cup, but for a striker, if something happens to Kane or they need somebody with a little bit more pace or something, he would have been a perfect replacement. But, Wilson's there as well. Wilson's doing fantastic at Newcastle. So
before I ask Rebel to talk about that one, I just quickly want us to talk about Reece James. He would have picked them as well. And obviously Lamptey has declared for Ghana. He's going to the World Cup with Ghana. It was selected today. So he is going to the World Cup, but he's playing for Ghana.
Well, when I picked this, he was still eligible for England.
Yeah. In fairness, yes. Rebel, what do you think of Colm's selections then?
Goalkeeping, there's nothing to say about it. That's exactly what I would have picked in that position. The central defender that sticks out as possibly not being worthy of his spot is probably Cody out of all of them. He's probably the weakest link there, in my opinion. I would not be bringing him to the World Cup, honestly. Jordan Henderson, I think what he brings is probably a bit of a senior head to the situation and probably a bit of leadership and a bit of calmness. But given the way that he's slowly declining in that Liverpool midfield, probably not on his playing ability at this stage would he be worthy of his spot. But I think what he brings in the off-the-field kind of aesthetics definitely makes him worthwhile to be on a plane. Mount, again, he blows very hot and cold. It's either a peak or a trough with him. So I would be waiting with somebody on the sideline if he was starting to whip him off if he's having one of his off days. But again, you can't argue about why he's been put in the squad. Sterling hasn't shot the lights out completely this season, but obviously needs to go. Foden, Saka, Kane are absolute locks. And this is then where we get down to the difficult part. Tony, without the other stuff, would definitely have been on a plane. Wilson, in recent times, has produced the form that put him into contention. And by that same set of arguments, then I would be saying that Rashford would probably have reached the same set of criteria and would be in over Abraham, who hasn't really had as good a season. And if you're going on the recent form, gets on the plane, Rashford would be on that plane over Abraham alongside Wilson.
Fair enough. You got anything to say back to that, Colin?
No, I mean, yeah, this is it. This is why we do these things. This is just my personal opinion. Everybody has different opinions on different players. For me, obviously, I watch a lot of United games and stuff. For me, Rashford quite hasn't been up there. Maybe Rebel's probably right. He's probably done just about enough, or just a bit more than what Abraham's done to deserve him to be on that spot. But Rashford has been playing well over the last couple of weeks. He's done well, but it's his inconsistencies that annoys me the most, and that's why I haven't took him. I know Abraham's exactly the same, but I'm just trying to say, the inconsistencies there isn't. It just isn't. I mean, Abraham doesn't even get onto my starting 11, but It's just a differential, really. I think he gives us something a little bit different.
Yeah. Big up to Solo anyway, mate. Hope you're doing well. So this is Colm's starting 11. So he's gone for Ramsdale, Trippier, White, Tomori, Walker-Peters, Rice, Bellingham, Maddison, Saka, Kane, Foden. Do you want to explain any of that? Mainly the left back?
What's wrong with the left back? What's wrong with the left back?
There. He doesn't really play there.
He can play there.
Can Malaysia play at right back?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I can. Because
I wasn't convinced yesterday.
At the end of the day, I mean, you can swap Walker-Peters and Trippier. I just quickly wrote it down. I was at work when I did it, so I quickly wrote it down. But still, Walker-Peters can actually play on that side. It's not his natural place, and he might have a few iffy moments. But that's why I put him there, because I think Trippier is better over on the other side, on the right-hand side. I think that's where Trippier performs at his best. Obviously, White and Tomori, like I said, I think it's absolutely shambolic. Tomori hasn't been taken with the season he's having. Ben White's in there because Cody's not quite good enough for me to be in the starting 11. And as you can see, I've not took Harry Maguire because he is dreadful, really bad. So I don't want to take him. Rice is the holding midfielder with Bellingham and Maddison as the outlets there. Saka and Foden out on the sides, but I wouldn't set it up as Kane as the focal striker. I'd have Kane slightly behind them, so he was playing more of a centre forward role. Use his presence, his strength, so he's able to hold up the ball and turn, and use Saka and Foden as inside forwards, so they're running off of Kane, and that means then Kane can drop back into the midfield when needed to create a midfield 4, and then the other two can also drop back, and it creates a midfield 5, which then solidifies that midfield and protects the back line.
Yeah, do you want a job after the World Cup when Gareth Southgate's been sacked?
Yeah, I'd love one.
There you go, brilliant stuff. Solo saying here, Rashford should not be anywhere near the England team, nor should Harry Maguire. I don't think any of us have picked Maguire, because mine's coming up next. I didn't pick him. No shouts for Dan Burn. James Justin was close for me.
It was close for me.
Yeah, he just not enough of good form recently. That's my only issue. Dan Burn, I do love him, but I think he would struggle at international level because of his height mainly. Yeah,
I mean, like I said, James Justin were good for me, but I couldn't. When I was picking the players, I couldn't find a way to get him in and take somebody out. That was the issue I was having.
Yeah. Rebel, what do you think of this starting 11?
Again, the only one that's really sticking out to me like a siren is the Walker Peters selection. The rest of it,
Yeah.
not too bad. There is something that I want to say about midfield, but I'm going to save it for later on because I think you have something belong to me somewhere in the ether as well. But for entertainment value, actually, I'm just going to make this point rather quickly. Mings and Maguire would be absolutely fantastic to watch because it would provide endless amounts of talking points from a sheer entertainment value. But from a kind of organizational standpoint, it's something that you'd want to drop down the deepest, darkest ocean, never to be seen again. Saka, Foden, Kane, I don't think anyone's ever going to be arguing about that. The question, though, that I would say is, given now what's picked, if Kane is kind of struggling in a game, who's number one to come in and take that central role for you, Colm?
What, from who I've picked or from who Gareth's picked?
From who Gareth's picked, I suppose, to be fair.
Well, it'd have to be Wilson. It'd have to be Wilson because they're not the same players, but Wilson also has that ability to hold up the ball. You know, he's got quite a decent shot on him. We saw what he did to Hugo Lloris not so long ago as well. So if Kane had an issue, I personally would bring in Wilson.
Fair enough. Right, this is my one. I apologise for my one. I always think outside the box. So I've gone with Pope, Ramsdale, Henderson. I've actually dropped Pickford. I'm not convinced, but I watch him enough to go. He worries me every time I watch him. I don't want to have stress when I'm watching England. I have enough of that already. Defenders have gone with Trippier, White, and I've gone White as a right back here, actually. Mitchell, Shaw, Kilman, Tomori, Stones, Cody, and Tarkowski. Midfielders have gone for Rice, Lewis Kirk, Bellingham, Jacob Ramsey, Maddison, Ward-Prowse, and Eze. Forwards have gone with Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon, Kane, Wilson, Saka, Foden, and Abraham. Now, I'm ready for loads of what the heck is that? Colm, I'll start with you, mate.
Yeah, you're going to get a few. I'll go through and say the players, and you can try and justify why you've put them in. I'll do it that way. So, Dean Henderson.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Dean Henderson's in there. Yes, he's a good young goalkeeper, but I don't think he's done enough to get in there.
We've only got 4 decent goalkeepers. One of them's going to have to be dropped, and Pickford for me is the weakest.
Okay. Tarkowski.
I love him. I think him at the centre back is brilliant.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. I'm guessing, is that Lewis Cook that you've got in there? Has he froze on us?
I think he might have. We might have lost.
I see. My questions have got to him. That's what it is. My questions have got to him. But yeah, Cook could be one that I'm not sure about as well. And then Barnes and Gordon. I'm not too sure about them either.
I think Harvey Barnes is an interesting one. Probably in the next tournament, probably definitely would be one of those ones that you'd be saying should be on a plane. Ramsey for me is probably the one that's premature. I do like what the kid is doing, and I think he's going to be an outstanding player, but definitely probably a moment too soon in his career.
Honestly,
there
so
he is.
annoys me. That so annoys me because now I've got to upload that stuff again. Right, whilst that uploads, what were you asking?
I can't even see a team now.
I know. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just uploading it now. Jeez.
All right.
You picked holes in Cook, I think, was the main one you wanted to
Yeah.
talk about.
Oh, see, the problem is, have you realised how many central defensive midfielders we've actually got in the England setup?
Yeah.
Hardly any. I would never want to see Eric Dyer playing there. Calvin Phillips doesn't deserve to be there at all. I think I can add it now. There we go. So I was actually traipsing around the whole England network to find a defensive midfielder that I rated. And Lewis Cook is the only one that I actually think, he's decent backup to Rice if anything happens.
Okay. And then the last two that I said was Barnes and Gordon.
Something different. I'm fed up of Raheem Sterling letting me down all the time. I'm fed up of it.
But like you've put Barnes in there, but
have you seen him at Leicester lately?
Wouldn't Bowen getting over Barnes? Is that
international?
Bowen?
No. He's in such bad form for West Ham. See, I'm one of these that go with form. I don't go with favourites or who's done me some favours in the last championship or done me a favour in a friendly. I am more about form, and right now Leicester in form. That is mainly down to Barnes. I would have tried to get Dewsbury Hall in that team if I could have as well, but I couldn't work out where to put him. And Anthony Gordon, I don't know why he's not playing for Everton. I really don't get it. He's just something different. He can play left and right as well, so he's adaptable.
Okay, I know. Rebel, you pulled up on a player that you said it was too early for.
Yeah, Ramsey. I love what I've seen from him, especially in the 2 games that he's played against Manchester United. But I just don't think it's his time, and I think he needs that couple of years, kind of before the Euros come up, to kind of establish himself in that Villa team, and then push on in the English friendlies that are in between and qualifying that's coming up for the Euros. I think that could be the time that you'll see Ramsey come into the English setup.
Yeah, I'm just someone that is fed up with Gareth Southgate in the way he picks players. I've told you both that I'm just fed up with the system, the way it's picked. I also wanted to think outside the box and go with some people that I thought, you know what, they deserve a chance. Our group wise, I think is fairly easy, to be honest. We could have had a way worse group than this. I think it's could have been all right. There's no way I'm picking Jordan Henderson. Not on your Nelly. So out of form. I don't care if he plays well for England. Have they watched the recent friendlies and Nation League games? Because I'm pretty sure he hasn't played very well.
No. Well, it's all right, Bobby, because things are going to change. After this World Cup, I'm going to become England manager.
Yes.
You can be my assistant.
No.
Rebel doesn't get a job because he'll try and tell us to pick Harry Maguire just to watch England get knocked out.
Well, this is my starting 11, by the way. I forgot to, but I do want to get through some comments as well, because I've just realised I missed some whilst I was having Wi-Fi issues. Box would say I'd have Harvey Elliott. Is that Calvin Phillips? I still wouldn't have him. Mountain for Eze, Cook, Ramsey. I'd say, for me, Tarkowski is so underrated as a defensive centre-back. He really is. I don't know why people have turned their nose up him, just because of his age, or he played for Burnley. England lack explosive dribblers like Barnes. There you go. Me and Bucks linked in here. Barnes, Bowen, I'll take, to be honest. Kane is a lone man, so don't need so many centre forwards. I just went for, who did I go for? Abraham and, was it Tony? Obviously, the Tony's issue, he wouldn't be able to go, but yeah. But this is my starting 11. So White is a right back. I don't want to see him as centre back anymore. Stones, Tarkowski, Shaw, Ramsdale in goal, Rice, Bellingham, Maddison, Foden, Kane. So it's not really that different to anyone else's, really. No. It's more the backup side of it.
Those front six are pretty much in everybody's team.
Pretty much, yeah.
And they're going to be. It's only that defensive line and the goalkeeper that is really differential to people's opinions.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've gone for Ramsdale, you've gone for Ramsdale, but like Rebel said, Pope's got a very, very good shout. You know, if Pope was in the net for England, I wouldn't be upset about it.
Yeah. Now, the next question I did ask the lads to do was select a starting 11 from Gareth Southgate's 9 million defenders and Harry Kane. And this is what Cole managed to do. Cole, you want to explain your squad there, mate?
Yeah, so obviously I've gone a little bit away from what Southgate does because, you know, he likes to play 12 at the back. Even though there's only 11 players on pitch, he still manages to squeeze an extra one in. So Ramsdale, obviously, I said earlier, being top at league, he's got all that confidence. So I put him in. But again, if Pope was in there, I wouldn't have an issue with that. Walker, because, it's Carl Walker, uses pace. I've gone for White and Stones at centre-back pairing because I think they would pair quite well together, even though we know White and Stones at centre-back do have a tendency to make us squeal at times with some of their decisions. I've had to put Trippier out onto the other side because obviously I can't put Walker out on that side because we won't get the best of his ability there. I know we won't get the best of Trippier's ability there, but he's probably more able to adapt to that side. My middle three, Rice, Bellingham, and Maddison again, and the strikers speak for themselves, what the forwards.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not going to ask Rebel because he's done his own, so I'll get into King. I asked King to do one as well. He's gone for Ramsdale, Trippier, White, Stone, Shaw, Rice, Bellingham, Maddison, Saka, Kane, Foden. So again, not very different from yours, apart from he's actually put a left back in a left back position because, funny enough, that's where they best play. Right back playing at right back because guess what? That's also where they play really well.
So hold on then, before we move on then. So you're saying, and I mean, he's not been bad recently, but Luke Shaw at left back. Sorry, I had to it's because it's different for me, and I had to at left back would be a better option than somebody in form that can play there, because Trippier can play there. So you'd rather have Luke Shaw, who's not been massively impressive all season, play there because that's his natural position, or a Trippier that can play there.
Okay,
who is
what?
in a lot better form and has proved it week in, week out.
Okay, guess what I'm doing? I'm taking Walker out of your team, putting Trippier in right back because I can't stand Walker either. He's another defender that should just say bye-bye to international football. Let some young ones come through.
It's just his pace. That's why I've got him there.
Yeah, but has his pace dwindled recently? I think it has.
I think his fitness has dropped. I don't think
that's no good in Qatar then. His fitness levels are going to be a big struggle in Qatar then. If he's not fit.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah. So that was Kings. I think yours is up next, Rebel. There we go. Rebel, you can explain that one because I'm not even going into the names on that one.
Yeah, well, again, I was taking the viewpoint that White is more a wing back now at this point, so that's why he's not at centre back. If Tomori had been going into the World Cup, Maguire wouldn't have been starting. It'd have been Tomori next to Stones. That would be kind of pure and simple of it. Funnily enough, left back playing left back, a right back playing right back, and the reason why Phillips is in there is because he offers something different in the midfield. And I think Bellingham and Maddison then would be rotating based on fixtures, with Rice and Phillips coming in behind them. And again, the reason why Rashford is currently there is because you're not going to play Saka in every single minute of every single international game. And I think you probably would have seen a bit of movement between Foden, Rashford and Saka in that front line. But the main reason why Maguire's there is because White doesn't play there anymore in centre-back. And once you go beyond that, then it does get fairly murky in old Trenchcoat's squad.
Have you got anything to say to that, Colin? Because I'm disowning him as a friend.
Well, I mean, the glaring one there is Maguire. Maguire? I mean, we might as well literally go to Curry's PC World or wherever and go buy a fridge and stick that on the pitch because it'll do about as much as what Maguire did, and you've got Rashford in there. Fair enough. Everybody knows. Well, not everybody knows, but people think I have an agenda against Marcus Rashford. I don't have an agenda against Marcus Rashford. I just don't think he's playing very well. I don't think he's playing to the ability that he can play, and I want to see more out of him.
Yeah, fair enough. I've got one more, which you two don't know about. I asked someone to do something for me. Box said front six on paper if Clicks could do well. It's a front six that Southgate will never select. I forgot about Walker. I think Walker, Trippier, Shaw all start in a back five. Oh, that's just painful to read. Box saying here, I think Southgate picks. Funny enough, this is what I've asked someone to do, actually. I think Southgate picks Pickford, Trippier, Walker, Maguire, Stones, Shaw, Rice, Phillips. I'm looking forward to 1-0 wins. Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Shaw, Rice, Phillips, Saka, Sterling, Kane. Right. So I asked.
You see, that's reminded me another reason why I put Walker in my team. Because Walker also slots into centre back if we need him to. If somebody gets injured and we're lacking that centre back, Walker has played centre back a few times. He's not looked the best there, but he is able to transfer over a little bit, so it gives us a little bit more backup.
Okay.
Only way that happens though is if they shift to a 3, because I reckon you probably have Shaw or somebody tucking in alongside Walker plus whoever's not injured from your starting centre backs.
I mean that's never going to happen, is it? Because when Maguire plays, he wants a back 5. So
well, funny enough, this is what I asked Luke to do. I asked Luke to pick what he thinks Southgate will pick from the 26 that he has selected, and this is what Luke reckons. And to be fair, it might be. So it's Pickford in goal, Trippier, Stones, Dyer, literally, Maguire, Shaw, Rice. That bit. Oh, jeez. So that's 8 defenders, and then we got Saka, Kane, Foden trying to get a goal. Colm, I can see your face. I can tell you're not impressed. Do you think that's the possible lineup, though? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I do,
Yeah.
and it depresses me.
It does.
It really does. It really depresses me that could actually be the lineup. I don't want to watch boring international football where we're playing, 8 men at the back. It's not what we need. Southgate is the only manager I know that will play 6 defenders. What other English manager has done that? Has there been another English manager that has done that? I can't think of one. Maybe there has been at times, but Southgate does it every single game.
Well, it did win the Greeks the Euros, that kind of play.
It did, but football's evolved since then.
Yeah.
You can't play 6 at the back because you'll just get literally ripped apart. All they've got to do, if England have got 6 at the back going at this team, all they have to do is get past one time, which isn't going to be hard when you've got a pairing of Dyer and Maguire. Maguire's Dyer as it is, but throw Dyer next to it makes it even worse. But all they've got to do is score 1 goal. And we've got no forwards. We've got no outlet there because everybody's defensive. We've got Foden, Kane and Saka. Those 3 on their own, yeah, they can do wonderful things, but they can't do everything. They need help. And Rice and Phillips aren't people to do that. Yeah, Shaw and Trippier can bomb forward, but if Shaw leaves Maguire and Trippier leaves Maguire's going to be standing in his own puddle.
Yeah.
Interestingly, though, the one thing I would say, out of all the midfielders that he could have picked, Phillips in that situation probably connects your wall with your front 3 better than any of the other centre midfielders that could be next to Rice.
I don't know, because Phillips for me just doesn't have enough. He doesn't offer enough going forward. He doesn't really offer much going backwards either, but he doesn't offer enough. I mean, you need somebody that's going to be more able to attack and give that outlet, that deadly ball to the feet of Kane or out wide to Foden and Saka. Somebody like the Maddison, for instance, we've seen what he's doing at the minute, and he's not scared to shoot as well. Honestly, that team is just depressing.
Rebel, what do you think?
Well, having watched Irish international football and quite often in the same weekend English games, because I've been so depressed from watching the Irish game, I want to feel better about ourselves. Looking at what is put out there, that would be a Southgate masterclass of a team right there. I think it was with King one day on TikTok. I was talking about how at the moment England have probably one of the most vast arrangements of quality young attacking talent, and they have got a manager that hasn't got a Scooby-Doo's how to use that talent and put them together in a cohesive unit on paper. and it probably cost you winning that Euros last tournament. And looking at like Dyer Stone to Maguire is not something that I don't think any English fan is going to want to see. And I'll be honest with you, like Pickford has been absolutely diabolical in an Everton shirt. I don't know what in the name of Superman he does when he puts on an England shirt, but the two goalkeepers that I'm looking at, the English Pickford and the Everton Pickford, they're not the same. And I don't honestly think that Pickford can be trusted in order to maintain organising that wall that's in front of him. If you're going to do that depressing shite, get either Pope or Ramsdale in organising, because Pickford is going to make, like, especially with the way Maguire's head is at the moment, he is fried. He's been absolutely shite for Manchester United, and the only saving grace there is in a back three he does play better. But as Colin said, if you're chasing a 1-0 down, especially against the better sides, you'd have to kind of be assuming that he's just going to start throwing darts at the board, a bit like Holland did against Ireland back in the 2002 qualifier, where they just threw all the strikers on in the end in an effort to get a goal. So I think what you have with your manager there is a single plan A, and then there's nothing to kind of alter the course of the game if plan A isn't working.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Box is saying that Saka and Foden will be wing backs. Luke, I have starred your question. I will come back to that because I've got some quick fire questions for both of them to answer, which I didn't know about, but tough. Pick up to Adam. Today is depressing enough being a United fan. Now I'm seeing this team. I had to write it. Do you imagine I had to literally get on my laptop and type that team out? It wasn't fun. 100% with Colm, agree with Colm and Rebel about that team and Southgate. Yeah. So I've hidden some questions away so Colm couldn't find them. Right. Are you ready for the questions?
Yeah, go on then.
Right. With Southgate picking his most trusted players, does that show a weakness in his managerial ability?
I don't think it shows weakness in his managerial ability. I think it shows how much he lacks. Not weakness, because, he's picked his trusted players. Fair enough. Managers do that all the time. They always pick the trusted players. Arsenal, Arteta picks his trusted players. Ten Hag picks. Now, regardless, I just think it shows how narrow-minded he is, and he doesn't have the experience. Because, we're not professional managers, but we know for a fact Tomori should be in that team.
Yeah,
we know this. Everybody in England knows this. And certain players shouldn't be in the team. So no, I don't think it is weakness.
Rebel.
Going along with what Colin said, agree with all that. I would also say that it's a job that's too big for a manager of his ability. England needs someone that is capable of utilising all the weapons that are available to them. And unfortunately for England, Gareth Southgate isn't the lad that can utilise these to their most effective possibilities. So it's not a weakness, it's just that he's over his head.
Okay. Interesting question. I'm going to start with you with this time, Rebel. Form versus favourites. Does it really matter at international level?
I'm going to use an example of the Irish team here because invariably the Irish players have been playing at lower standard in Premier League / Championship. And we've had a lot of players that had struggled for their club, but they arrive in that green jersey and they come out like warriors. So to a certain extent, no. But if a player is completely and utterly buried by the fans getting on their back, and question their ability, then it does come to the manager to make a call whether these people are in the right headspace to put on an international jersey, especially at a major tournament. But I would always be of the school of whoever is the best player in form at your club should be given at least a decent consideration as to why they wouldn't be replacing a so-called manager favourite.
Colm?
Well, I mean, I agree with what Rebel's saying. I mean, clearly Southgate has his favourites, and he will pick his favourites. For me, again, I'm under the impression where how you are performing, how your form is, should go on to being called up for your national team. I brought up stats last week about Maguire versus Tomori.
Yeah.
But obviously Maguire is one of his favourites. So Maguire's in there, Tomori misses out yet again.
Yeah. Okay. So this will be with Colm first. Should England's recent performances in friendlies and Nation League be a concern to us right now?
No.
Rebel?
I really don't think.
Oh, okay. No.
Sorry.
I thought it was going to be a quick answer. You went.
No, I was just going to give an explanation as to why I don't think it should be. So I'll be really, really quick and then you go on to Rebel. It shouldn't be a concern to anybody because nobody cares about the Nations League and nobody cares about friendlies. So I don't think they put in as much effort as they do as in the Euros and the World Cup.
All right. Rebel?
I'm going to disagree completely with Colm and say it should absolutely be a concern because while the team might not be the same team, it might be some of your more fringe players that you're looking at in order to kind of establish who the extended squad is going to be. It does bring into question how the manager and his coaching team utilizes the players that he wishes to use for those games. So if he's using England B, for argument's sake, in the Nations Cup, which isn't seen as one of the premier tournaments, and he can't set them out in a way that they're utilized to their best, then how can he be trusted then to utilize the main team in a big tournament and get them to perform in their best way possible?
Yeah. Rebel, you're going to be the first one to answer this one. Minimum expectations for England at the World Cup.
Okay. The minimum expectation for the English media is that you're going to win it. That's what they're saying. Number one. The minimum expectation from a realistic English fan is that you should get out of that group without any problems whatsoever. Then you probably should be getting through at least 2 of the knockout rounds and hitting at least a semi-final to give yourselves a shout at getting to World Cup final. But given the way that Southgate deploys he, it wouldn't surprise me if he struggled through the group and get knocked out in the first knockout round.
Fair enough. Colm?
For me, the minimum expectation is round of 16. For the wider population of England, especially since what they've done last time in the Euros, they've got a lot of pressure. I think quite a lot of people will be expecting them to go to another final.
Fair enough. Now, Colm, I'm going to put you on the spot now. What is your expectations of England at the World Cup?
I've just said round 16.
You really think
honestly,
that?
I don't think. I think we're going to we're going to scrape through the group stages.
Yep.
And then when it gets to round of 16, we'll be out.
Now, Rebel, can you take your Irish hat off for a minute? Be nice. What are your expectations for England at this World Cup?
Well, I said this to King before the Euros. I said with the body of talent that England have available to them, they should be winning a major tournament within the decade. That hasn't transpired so far. And factoring in that you haven't got a manager that's capable of getting the best out of your squad, probably round of 16 is about as good as it's going to get. But it's actually an underperformance given what talent the English player base has. They should be getting to a final. And unfortunately, I think there'll be disappointment for the English public because the manager won't utilise his best squad and can't utilise them in a way that benefits winning some of these big games.
Okay, well, that leads perfectly into Luke's question. I've got 2 more questions that I've got, but this leads into Luke's question. So if England do get eliminated in the group stage, do you think Southgate would resign or FA sack him?
Well, the right thing to do would be to resign. That would be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
He's gone to a World Cup, a Euro final. Fair enough. Thanks for taking us there, but you're quite clearly not good enough to take us to that actual trophy. So the right thing would be for Southgate to say, look, I've done all I can. Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting me whilst I've been here. But somebody else is now going to try and take you that little bit further that I couldn't do. If he doesn't resign, then the FA need to sack him. It needs to be done because, like I just said, he hasn't got the quality to take us there.
Okay, Rebel, what do you think?
I'm not convinced that either is going to happen, actually. I'll be honest with you. The pool of available managers at the international level seems to be getting smaller and smaller as they are getting increasingly more attracted, even taking in mid Premier League jobs over some of the international jobs that are available. Should he fail, I do think that there's a possibility that you could see him at least starting the next major tournament qualification campaign, because I'm not sure is there an appetite amongst the English FA to move, because what candidate is putting their hands up to say, I'm willing to take this England job? The only person really that stands out is if Newcastle decide to move on from Eddie Howe to appoint a bigger manager at some point. Eddie Howe is probably the one that should be given an opportunity to be England manager. So I think there's a lot of variables that suggest that unless something else happens, Southgate remains regardless of what happens at World Cup.
Fair enough. Evening, Chris Firkill, I think that's how you say it. England will go out early, load of shite. Letting his feelings out. There's nothing wrong with that on here. So 2 more questions. Okay, so after the World Cup, should we be changing Gareth Southgate no matter what the outcome? I'm going to ask Rebel that first. So even if we win it, do you think we still should be changing from Gareth Southgate?
If it was me personally, I'd get rid of him before the World Cup, but that's not going to happen. To be honest with you, give yourself the fighting chance.
Fair enough. Colm?
I think it's a big if. If he wins it, then you can't. You just simply can't, unless he decides to walk away. He's going, right, I've done it. I'm going. But if he wins the World Cup, then you can't do it. It's impossible to do. But personally, I don't think we should have him after this tournament.
Fair enough. Rebel, are you going to stick with your same answer with Eddie Howe? Of who would you be your choice to be the next England manager? Or would you think of someone else?
I think given the profile of managers that is looking to get into international football now, Eddie Howe is definitely the kind of the lad that would have a bit of nous. We've seen what he's done with Newcastle. I didn't expect that from Newcastle. And before he took on that job, I wouldn't have even considered him for the Irish role, let alone the English role. But I think he's shown enough about him that he would get far more out of that England squad and possible selections than what Gareth Southgate could do if he lived to be 200.
Yeah. Colm, who would be your choice?
I mean, it's hard to look past Eddie Howe, isn't it, really? If they wanted an English manager, is probably one of the best that there possibly is. I joked last week that we should get Sir Alex Ferguson out of retirement and let him have a crack at it. But I don't know. There's quite a few managers that I wouldn't mind seeing. Even though he didn't have a very good time at United, Ralph Rangnick. Would like to see Ralph Rangnick in charge of England. He's currently got a international job, I believe, and he's got Austria. And Austria playing some really, really good football under him. So I think, people like that. But, you can go with people like Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp. You can go for all those kind of people. But if it's going to be an English manager, which I think is what everybody wants, then Eddie Howe, it's got to be the one.
Fair enough. I'd like to say thank you to everyone that's been in the comments. Thank you, Colm and Rebel, for coming on. I hope you've enjoyed the show. What is coming up this week, Colm? Because I know you mainly know the schedule. I'm definitely not here tomorrow. For the first time, I'm not actually on a stream tomorrow. I'm having a day off. I need one. I'm definitely not here tomorrow. Go on, what's come up?
So the things that are coming up on Full Tide Sports Network this week are nothing. No, we have the we have the lounge hosted by the one and only Rebel tomorrow at 7:30. Yes, we do, Rebel. Yes, we do. It's your show. It's your show, Rebel. You should know this. So yes, that is happening tomorrow. We also have the comedy football show, the Mullet Show, that is coming up. I believe on Wednesdays now. It keeps changing the day, so I'm not 100% sure when it is. But I'm going to say Wednesday. The best way to do it is to subscribe, hit a like on this video, and hit the notification bell, and you'll know when we go live then. And then I believe we have a lot of watch-alongs coming along, which Bobby's doing.
Yes. When Saturday, I've got a one. It's mighty Arsenal against this small little team in Manchester. I can't remember what their names are. WSL. I think it's is it? Oh, I can't remember. Is it Oldham? That's it. Arsenal ladies against Oldham. No, yeah. So it's Arsenal women versus Manchester United women. Both title contenders this season in WSL. So it is going to be an absolutely mighty clash. Elatoon, Russo, Earps against Mead, Mertig, Miedemeier, and Blackstenius. It's going to be a fantastic game. I can't wait for that one, actually. And then we will be doing some watch-alongs over the World Cup, but it will be when we can. As soon as we can, we'll do a watch-along. It will be announced, and yeah, it's just going to be tricky because of the times. Was it 10 o'clock kickoff, 1 o'clock kickoff, 5 o'clock kickoff, and 7 o'clock kickoff? So we are going to do our best to do some watch-alongs the best we can.
And I'll be around to give my impartial observations on England's performances.
Yeah.
If you believe that, well, you're just crazy.
Well, I mean, before we say goodbye to everybody, I've got a question for you. How important is it that England finish the top of the group? Because we will get second place of Group A. And Group A is Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and the Netherlands. Now, Netherlands will probably win the group.
Qatar, Senegal, Ecuador, and the Netherlands.
Yes. If we finish second, we will play the winner of Group A,
yes,
which will probably be the Netherlands.
Probably. It's not
probably.
A guarantee.
No, it's not guaranteed, but it probably will be the Netherlands. So we don't really want to be playing the Netherlands. In all fairness, we want to be playing one of the lesser teams. Put respect on him. There? Is who?
Louis van Gaal. Is he back in charge there, is he?
I think so.
I can't remember the Dutch coach is actually. I can't remember who he is. Who's the Dutch coach?
I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, if we win this group, then we might have a better chance of avoiding the Netherlands. Whereas if we come second.
But are the Netherlands the same team they used to be? I'm not sure that
no,
they
they're not.
strike the same fear as the days of Hasselbank, Van Persie, and Kluivert and all the rest, and Overmars and all the rest of these lads.
That's true. That is true. They're not. But when you look at them, who would you rather have out of all of them? Would you rather have Senegal, Ecuador, Qatar, or the Netherlands?
I'd actually rather have Netherlands, to be honest. Because
really?
Ecuador is a question mark. You don't know what you're going to get. Senegal, you don't know what you're going to get. And that's no offense to Qatar, but I don't even know what we're going to get with Qatar yet. But
Qatar didn't know.
Well, they could. There has been talk. There's a couple of little kids that are really good over there. I don't know. I honestly have no idea about Qatar. I've never seen them play. I am going to probably give it a bit of a go on Sunday, give it a watch. But I think Ecuador and Senegal, for me, are the ones to be more worried about, especially with the way that Southgate plays.
With all due respect to Qatar, I don't see them doing anything. We were in a group with Saudi Arabia the last time we were in the World Cup. They were getting battered 8-0 and 5-0 and all the rest of it. And I would have said that Saudi Arabia were probably a more advanced football nation than Qatar. Qatar are in this World Cup by default because they're the hosts.
True. But yeah, I see. If we, I don't know. To be honest, I'll be surprised if we get through the group because I think USA might shock us, and Wales will shock us. I really do. I've got this horrible feeling that the USA and Wales are going to shock us.
Now, what will happen is we'll batter USA. We'll batter Wales, and then we'll get beat 5-0 by Iran.
I'm going to come in there and say that I wouldn't be underestimating Wales. I've read an interesting piece about the evolution of the Welsh FA since Speed kind of started the transition into what we're seeing today. Now, obviously, they had a certain former United player that will not be named anymore take over briefly in between times, but it seems that they're back on track again. So I would not be overestimating or underestimating Wales in any shape, means, or form.
I mean, I'm not underestimating them at all. I know the Welsh side is a very, very good side and a very dangerous one. I'm just saying it would be typical England to do that.
Fair.
Yeah. But you are spot on. Sorry, we can say we're wrapping up the show. We've carried on talking. Do apologise, guys. But
my stomach's rumbling. Come on.
We will definitely speak to everyone very soon and see everyone very soon. But right now, have a very good evening, day, night, wherever you are, guys. Take care, everyone.
Ta-ra.